Welcome to School Scene. I'm Dan Bridges, Superintendent of Naperville Community Unit School District 203. My co-host Karen Sullivan, Superintendent for Indian Prairie School District 204, will be back with us next time. In this episode, we'll take a look at the upcoming school year for District 203 high schools. There are nearly 17,000 students in 22 schools across Naperville, Bolingbrook, Lisle, and Woodridge, who grow, learn, and thrive within our district. Our goal is to ensure each student receives a first-class education and graduates well prepared for their next phase of life, whatever that may be. One way we're able to achieve that goal is through our commitment to innovation and collaboration. For the next half hour, I want to share with you, our community, how we provide our students the best education possible for more than 20 years. To kick things off, I'm joined by Bill Wiesbrook, the principal of Naperville Central High School. It's an exciting year for this high school, and Bill's here to tell us what they have to look forward to. Thanks, Bill, for joining us today. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself as principal, how long you've been at Naperville Central, and maybe a little bit about your journey that led to the principal's position?
Sure. About 20 years ago, I came to Naperville Central as a teacher, and now, 20 years later, I'm principal. I am about to start my 8th year as principal at Naperville Central High School. 20 years ago, if someone would have tapped me on the shoulder and said, "You're going to be principal at Naperville Central," I think I would have fainted. But I'm very excited to be principal at Naperville Central High School. It's a great place.
You often talk to me about how great it is and how much you love being the principal at Naperville Central. What is it that just makes Central so special to you?
It really is the people. We have a great facility, as you know, wonderful building, probably one of the best in the state of Illinois. But it's the people. Our students are just wonderful to deal with. Our parents are extremely helpful, very much a partner in the process. And then the staff that I've been working with for 20 years, I think are the best in the state.
In a little bit, we'll be talking about the one-to-one digital learning initiative. So aside from that, what's something else you're really excited about in this coming school year?
I'm excited about a couple of things. So you asked me, it sounded like you wanted one thing, but I'm going to go with a couple. First of all, our science department, and I think we have a terrific science department, and this is true at both high schools, decided to change the science course pathway for our students. So for the first time ever, in a month, when students arrive, freshmen are going to be taking chemistry, and that's never happened before. And I'm excited to see how students respond to that. I've been excited to see how our science teachers have prepared for this transition. So that's new and different, and I think exciting for Naperville Central High School. Another thing that I'm excited about is the conference that we're involved in, the DuPage Valley Conference, for the first time ever now has the 204 high schools. So Neuqua Valley, Metea Valley, and Waubonsie Valley are now in our conference, and on a regular basis our students will get to compete with our neighboring high schools, and I'm excited about that.
That should be something very exciting for the whole community to see the 5 high schools have the opportunity to compete that often. And I know I'm excited about the science work that's been done also. It reflects direction that's been given by the Board of Education, but it also reflects input from our community through the Future Focus process. So I know we're all very excited about that. When you think about being a successful student at Naperville Central High School, the 3,000 students that are there, what keys to success do you communicate to them in order to be successful as a student? I mean, if they came to you and said, "Mr. Wiesbrook, what do I need to do well in Naperville Central?" What are the things that you tell them?
Well, I think first and foremost, a student's mindset is so important. We all have to realize that we can learn and grow, and our students have to have that kind of a mindset. And when challenges come along, a phrase that I like to use is to look at an obstacle as a fun challenge, to have a positive mindset about learning. Sometimes learning is a challenge, and you have to persist and stick with it. So that's number one. Students need to have a mindset that they can learn. They might not learn all at the same speeds, but persistence and a positive mindset, and all of us can grow and learn. So that's number one. And then there are other things like being organized. In high school, there's so many things going on. Just being organized is important. So for students to stay organized with their assignments is very important. And then maybe one more that I constantly preach is try to get involved in something after school. We know that about 80% of our students are involved in something after school. And I think that helps students become invested and build great relationships and really feel like they're a part of Naperville Central High School.
We've talked about that importance before, and as a former high school principal myself, that was a message I always like to deliver as well. It really seems like you have to choose not to get involved at Naperville Central as opposed, because there are so many things. What are some of your favorite clubs and activities that take place?
Oh, I have to be careful because
I know.
the ones that I don't mention will shake their head.
They're all great.
I'll mention a couple that I've been directly involved in. When I was a teacher at Naperville Central High School, I also coached basketball. So I really enjoy the sport of basketball. So that's one of my favorites. I also coached the chess team for a couple of years. I really like chess. So I find myself, believe it or not, attending some chess matches. I actually went to the state chess tournament, which Naperville North, by the way, was crowned state champs in chess. I very much enjoy music and our theater productions. And I guess if I kept mentioning more, then they no longer would feel like favorites. So right. I guess those are some of my favorites.
In a few minutes, Mrs. Posey, our new principal at Naperville North High School, is going to join me and talk a little bit about Naperville North High School. I asked you advice you'd give students. What advice would you give your new colleague to be successful in our school district?
I think I'd give her similar advice. Just have a positive mindset. There'll be lots of challenges that she'll encounter, lots of new things, but just a positive mindset, I think, in embracing change and differences that she encounters is number one. And then staying organized as a principal. There's so many things going on. Just being organized with your calendar and with all the different priorities that you have is important. And I guess I'll just stay in the same thing of enjoying some of the extracurricular things that go on at the high school.
One of the things that I think makes our school district great is our partnership with the parents and community. Can you tell me in just a few seconds one or two things that parents can do or community members can do to get involved at Naperville Central High School?
There are lots of opportunities. Our home and school organization is terrific. In a couple of weeks, we have registration at Naperville Central and at Naperville North. Parents lead that process. We have hundreds of parents who will be in our building volunteering their time to help students get ready for the school year. So, you know, our home and school and our parent volunteers are terrific.
That's great. Thanks, Bill, for joining us today. When we return, I'll talk with Naperville North's new principal, Stephanie Posey. She'll share her goals and her vision for the Huskies. Hello, and welcome back to School Scene. We're now joined by Stephanie Posey. As Naperville North's new principal, she's eager to start this school year. Stephanie, first, welcome to School Scene. More importantly, welcome to Naperville North and District 203. We're pleased to have you here. Why don't you tell our viewers a little bit about yourself, kind of your road to Naperville North High School, and how you're feeling about becoming the top dog at Naperville North here.
Sure. Well, thank you first for having me with you today. I've been an educator for 25 years. I started my career in special education and 13 years ago went to Belleville as an administrator. And I would have to say, as top dog of Naperville North, I am first of all very proud and happy to be here. I'm excited about the investment that I see from all of the students and staff and community members that I meet. I will be striving to be collaborative and work with all of our students and staff to have input into the direction and the culture at Naperville North. And I will be doing a lot of listening and learning in the next few months to make sure that I hear where we're going and what everybody's direction would like to be for Naperville North.
Great. Now, I know you're not even a full month into the position, and you're just introducing yourself really to Naperville North. But what is it about Naperville North right now that has you most excited and most looking forward to being the principal there?
Well, I'll say from the very first time I stepped on campus, the excitement for me was seeing how everybody was truly invested in simply being a Husky. As I talk to students, they talk about their experiences at Naperville North, what they're most excited about. Everyone is involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. They're very proud of everyone. But not only that, as I get out into the community and go to restaurants and Barnes & Noble and all the places that we've been recently, people who are graduates of Naperville North are still very excited. They very much identify with being a Husky and are very proud of their community and their high school.
There's a great family atmosphere at Naperville
Absolutely,
North, isn't
it
there?
is.
As you think about this beginning year, you talked about one of the most important things you'll do is a little learning and a little listening. But what goals have you started to establish for yourself, for the school, for this first year?
Well, I think the most important thing for me to do right now is to learn the culture of the community and the culture of the high school. That will be very important as I review data with the stakeholders involved in the school so that we can together set some goals and keep Naperville North, the tradition of academic excellence and extracurricular excellence, keep it on that same track. But also make sure that every student has a great experience while they're with us at Naperville North.
Okay. I asked this same question to Mr. Wiesbrook earlier. You think about a student in offering advice on keys to success as a student in high school. What would you tell a student that he or she needs to do in order to be the most successful they can be as a high school student?
I think Naperville North offers extraordinary opportunities for students. I would tell them as they come in as freshmen to listen to their parents and teachers because those are the two groups that care about them the most, and they're going to help guide them to be as successful as possible. I would also say the same thing that Bill did, get involved in extracurriculars. That has the opportunity to shrink a large campus into a smaller community for them, and if you have a passion for something, I can promise you that Naperville North and Central have a club or an activity or a sport that speaks to that passion. Most importantly, though, I would say to the students to focus on your goals and your career aspirations and make sure that you're heading in that right direction.
I'm sure the advice is very similar, but what additional advice would you give an incoming 8th grader? We're talking about a large 3,000 student high school, 8th grader coming in for the first time. In addition to what you said, what would you tell them that they need to do right from the beginning?
I would say get involved in activities and find a group of kids, mostly upperclassmen hopefully, who can guide you through the newness of being a high school student.
Right.
Obviously there's a little more freedom that comes with being in high school. The high school's bigger than the junior highs and the grade schools that you're coming from. So that in itself could be overwhelming if you don't find your way early and find a path that you can follow.
As principal in Belleville, at Belleville East High School, you came from a school district that had two sister schools, Belleville East and Belleville West, and I'm sure there had to be a great crosstown rivalry. What is it about a crosstown rivalry, as you'll soon discover, Naperville North and Naperville Central, what is it about it that is special for the community?
It really is. A crosstown rivalry infuses a community with spirit and belonging. As I said earlier, if you go to Belleville, people graduated from Belleville East and West will identify with those groups. And a healthy rivalry does a lot for the community, brings people together in one place. When North and Central play football, I've already heard it's quite an extravaganza, and it gives people the opportunity to come together and be part of a larger community. I think that a healthy rivalry is a very good thing, although I'm sure that Bill and I will be like my previous counterpart, and we will share and support each other when it comes to the daily activities. And I'm sure I'll need Bill's help as we move through. But I am certainly willing to wager a little on the football game if Bill would like to do that as well.
That's an easy one for me. because I can always say Naperville will win and just end it there. Parent involvement and community involvement in our school district is vital to our success, and we think in order for us to be this type of school district we want to be, we have to have that type of partnership. What are some things that you'd want to say to parents or community members about how they could get involved in Naperville North to support you?
I would say similar things that Bill did. If you'd like to volunteer, we're having the community picnic, obviously, is a great way to get involved in the community and help some of our students who are incoming to the district to get acclimated to the area, as well as registration, our boosters. One of my first events here was a show choir performance, and the boosters are just phenomenal with that group, as well as with our athletic center activities as well. Great. So those are lots of ways you can get involved.
You've been a successful principal for a number of years, granted your first year at Naperville North. So if a year from now we were back on School Scene, and I were to ask you what made this a successful first year for you at Naperville North High School, what do you think will happen?
I would say definitely it will be my relationship with the students, the staff, and the community. My passion is being with high school students and being in that atmosphere where you can create an environment where you can watch students grow and be successful and achieve their goals and their dreams. And so I'm hoping I will have the same success here at Naperville North and Husky Nation. They've been very welcoming, kind, and warm, and I'm enjoying it thoroughly.
I'm sure there are students that are just anxious to get to know you. One word. What's one word you would use to describe yourself to students so that as they approach you, they'd say, Mrs. Posey is...
Can I use two words?
Absolutely.
All in.
And what does that mean?
I will be all in to being a Husky, and I'm looking forward to it. They will see me at a lot of events. They are welcome to come to my office and chat with me at any time. My door will be open as much as possible for them. My goal in life is to be a conduit for students to reach all of their dreams and their potential. So anything I can do to that end, I will do.
Fantastic. Meet them where they're at and help them take their next step.
Absolutely.
Set them up for success. That's great. When we return, Bill will join Stephanie and I to discuss the district's upcoming digital learning initiative.
Interested in getting a leg up on preparing for your post-high school future? How about taking an online course? Most colleges and workplaces now require some form of online education. Talk to your counselor today about signing up for the Expanding Learning Opportunities Consortium, or ELO. ELO students can take one of their 8 courses entirely online, choosing from a mix of electives and core courses, all taught by District 200, 203, and 204 teachers. See what courses are available for both summer 2015 and the 2015-2016 school year by visiting eloconsortium.org.
Imagine what you'd see if every child had a book to read. So the mission is for us to get a book to each and every child. So let's join hands, book people unite. Unearth hidden passion. Come on, we'll have a good time. One book can be the first little thing that helps to change a life. Book people unite.
Read to a child today and spark a lifetime of ambition.
Welcome back to School Scene. Joining us now are Stephanie and Bill to talk about our district's latest development. This year, we're excited to incorporate our digital learning initiative into all of our classrooms. Bill, Stephanie, why don't you each tell me a little bit about what you're most excited about for the digital learning initiative and our students going to one-to-one next year?
Okay.
I'm most excited about every single kid having the same tool. You've probably heard of some schools doing something called Bring Your Own Device, and we experimented with that a couple of years ago, and not everybody has the same device, but every kid's going to have a terrific resource, and I think that's the thing that I'm most excited about.
I agree, Bill. I think the consistency and the quality that it's going to bring to the school district is just a phenomenal idea.
Stephanie, can you tell me how you envision the digital learning initiative and students having a device of their own is going to help to transform learning in the classroom?
I think that it will offer students the opportunity to learn at a deeper level. They will have these tools not only in the classroom but as home as well, so they can continue that learning on their own outside of the classroom and have the resources and utilities to do that.
Bill, that really kind of creates a 24/7 learning environment for our kids. How do you think that's going to help them prepare for college and career after high school?
It's been a while since I've been in college, but I'm aware that most college students better be pretty tech savvy. Lots of learning away from the classroom. So I think all of our high school students, as they move into college, will soon have experience with some online learning at home, tapping into different resources, and I think that'll help them navigate their way through college even better than they already have.
Great. There's a lot of work that has to take place to kind of lead up to this type of initiative. And as I'd said earlier, we had spent last year piloting this program, and now we're ready to move into implementation over the next couple of years in all of 22 of our schools. What are some things that you've done as a leader, and what have teachers done over the summer to help prepare themselves for this change in teaching in their classrooms?
Well, it looks to me like teachers have been fully vested in this opportunity, from the online learning and the professional development that's been offered to teachers. They seem excited about the opportunity to bring this resource into their classroom. The Gale resources, our students will now, and our teachers will have the resources to look up journals and articles that they might not have had access to before. So all of these things, I think, will culminate in students who are ahead of the curve when they go on to their post-secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Our district has offered some training for teachers and principals. Early in June, I attended a 2-day session to learn more about how best to use devices in the classroom. Our teachers there are still 2 more opportunities for our teachers coming up, and those formal learning opportunities are in place. We also have, throughout our faculty, teachers who raise their hand and said, I'm pretty good with technology, and I've experimented with it, and I'll help coach my teacher colleagues. So that collaboration among the adults, I think, is the best thing that we have going for us at our 2 high schools.
I agree.
This wouldn't be a fair question for Stephanie because she wasn't with us last year. So Bill, I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about what were some of the findings from the pilot when we put devices in a one-to-one situation with some of our students. What are some of the biggest learnings that came from that?
I think the teachers that piloted this said that the kids were just more engaged than they used to be, more motivated than they used to be. And it gives the teachers an opportunity to differentiate more than they had in the past, so that maybe a few kids who have already mastered the learning, they can explore things using their device. And if there's a few kids who are falling behind, they can access some support through their device. So I think what I heard back was higher levels of engagement, so less sitting and listening, and a better opportunity to differentiate among the different levels of learners in the classroom.
Differentiation is a term we use a lot in education, and it reminds me and makes me think of the idea of personalized and individualized learning. What does that mean to our audience when we talk about having an opportunity for an environment of personalized learning for students? What does that mean?
I think what we would like to see students have is the opportunity to learn at their own pace, in the way that they learn. And one of the things that these devices will do, it reaches students in a medium that they're already very, very familiar with. They all have smartphones, they all have computers, they all have those devices. They're more familiar with social media than probably any of the 3 of us are. Myself, I know. And so it reaches them on a level that they're already very familiar and comfortable with. And I think that will increase, as Bill said, their engagement in learning.
Mm-hmm. The device with the student in the one-to-one situation in the school is something that we're preparing for. Now that device goes with the kids home for use. So as some of our parents who might be watching, what advice would you give them to support online and digital learning for their students?
I think I'm going to start with, I'd encourage parents to try to learn with their child. I am far from an expert with technology. I've never used a Google Chromebook, and our school's about to be filled with them. So I have a lot of learning to do. And a year ago, I decided I need to learn about Twitter. And a student at Naperville Central sat with me and kind of introduced me, and I learned from him. So my advice for parents would be, number one, learn with your kid. Sit down next to them and say, hey, explain what Canvas is to me or whatever. but learn with your kid. And then it's important, I think, for parents to just pay attention and do a little bit of monitoring of if my kid is using this device in the right way.
Stephanie, what advice would you add?
I would agree with that completely, as well as just making sure that the parents stay connected with the school, knowing if there are updates to the computers, what they need to be looking for, what to do if it doesn't work, or if they're having some difficulty with it as well. Make sure that they know what avenues to go through if there's an issue or a difficulty.
Well, as a superintendent, and as the parent of a District 203 high school student who will be immersed in this one-to-one initiative, I'm really excited about it. And I know that under your leadership of the other administrators in your building, and the phenomenal teachers who have been in this one-to-one initiative and others that are just ready to take off with technology, you're going to do a phenomenal job of transforming our learning environment for all of our kids. So thanks to Stephanie and Bill. I'd like to thank our guests for joining us on this episode of School Scene and for providing a more detailed look at the exciting year ahead. For more information, visit naperville203.org. See you next time as Indian Prairie School District 204 Superintendent Karen Sullivan joins me back on set. Thanks for watching.